Alright, guys, welcome to another episode of this The Caregiver and Spoonie vlog with me, where I talk about my life pretty much. So, on the first episode, I mentioned how I think that my mom is very bitter after her divorce, and I want to give more information about it or more history behind it, because a lot of people are gonna be like, and my wife was even saying like, why would you say that? It's like, oh, I have the proof. I have the stories behind it, so I know it's true. So here's what happens. This is why I say this. Like, my mom is very aggressive, like extremely aggressive. I say something, I will say something to her to be funny, because I tend to be kind of like a funny guy, but almost not with the intention of hurting or anything like that, but like people don't like it. So I will say something like that to my mom, and she will get mad. Like, she will get so mad, even at my brother, that one day she actually threw a knife at him. Good thing he moved, because he would have been stabbed in his back. So, and I have heard stories from my uncle where my mom will grab one of those big logs and throw it at him, or throw knives, or throw whatever she will find. That's why I don't make my wife mad in the kitchen, because my mom taught me not to mess with a woman in the kitchen, because she will throw anything at you. She will throw anything at me. And and I think this story is funny because a few years before I met my wife, my dad decides to contact her on Facebook, or somehow she found him on Facebook, and she tells me she comes home from work, and she's like, guess what? I'm like, what? I saw your dad on Facebook and he sent me a message. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, okay, what did he say? He just wanted to see how I was doing and everything. And what did you tell him? I'm like, what did you tell him? And she says, oh, I told him that he looked fat in his pictures. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, you still love him, huh? She got mad. She punched me. She's like, no, I don't. So I'm like, okay, well, so what did he say about that? Because you call him fat. I'm like, and my mom is all like, no, he didn't do anything. Or he didn't say anything. He deleted all of his pictures from Facebook. I'm like, no, he didn't. He's like, yeah. She shows me the profile of my dad, like his name and everything, and I know it's my dad because it has pictures of me when I was little that my mom gave him on Facebook, to Facebook. That's why it makes it even funny. So he deletes all of his pictures. He still has my pictures and my brother's pictures, which is funny because I'm like, why would you tell him that? And she's all like, because he looked fat. I'm like, wow, you still have some resentment in you, huh? And she flipped out. Or there were times where I would just say something to my mom, and she will flip out. Like, she will get so mad, so angry. Like, she will start throwing punches. She will, again, throw anything at me pretty much. She will start throwing punches. She will start throwing whatever she will find. And like, yeah, one of the things about my mom is that she has a sharp tongue. She has the sharpest tongue, like, you will never imagine. Like, I have seen her say some things that is like, do you even know what that means? And when she says yes, I'm like, okay, as long as you know what that means, because that hurts people. Like, I grew up in that environment, and what I'm trying to say with that story is that I was just like that. I wouldn't throw anything or like knives or anything like that, but I have a sharp tongue. I'm not gonna lie. I have a sharp tongue, and before therapy, I had a bad temper. Like, I will take everything personal, just like my mom or my brother or my uncle. I will take everything personal, and make a big deal out of it. Like, oh, why are you attacking me? So that's the reason why I was like that is because I pretty much saw it growing up. And that's the thing about us now as an adults. We can change ourselves from what we saw growing up. Like we could I mean the problem is this, that if we grow in a toxic environment, we're going to absorb that toxicity and think that that's actually right, that that's the way that we should act. Like if somebody says something, even as a joke to you, you should tell them like so many like swear words or anything like that, just because you see it growing up. Like that's how my mom is, that's how my brother is, and I saw it growing up, so I was the same way. But I'm very fortunate that I saw that that was wrong. I saw that was wrong, so I decided to change, because that's not how we should treat each other. Like my mom was very aggressive. My brother is very aggressive. They have like I have said before, they have their demons. They have their own demons. They need to go to therapy, but they don't want to. I went to therapy and I was able to actually get through my own stuff. That's why I'm a very vocal advocate about therapy, because I feel like it helped me. It helped me so much into becoming a better person, be able to talk about my issues without feeling offended. Like for example, the other day, or actually today, I was working on a post for the community, the Facebook community, and the Facebook page, where I showed it to my wife, and she said like, "Oh, it could be better," and I was like, "I could." The old me will snap. I will snap and be like, "Oh, you're telling me that I'm not good enough," or something like that. But I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Is it not good enough for you?" Or for everybody? I just want to know how I can improve it. And she said, "Oh, for me, because I have high standards." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then that's different, because I told her like, "Okay, you have higher standards, which I can tell you right now, I'm never gonna meet." I'm never gonna meet, especially with writing though. Like she wants it to be perfect, so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna meet you. I'm not gonna meet your standards, just so you're aware of. But if you can help me improve the way that I write, then I will take your help. But I didn't feel offended. I was like, whoa, she's talking about her standards. She has certain standards. Believe it or not, she's married to me, even though she has very high standards. She has very high standards, but she's married to me. So I didn't feel offended about it, but a lot of people, especially during the pandemic with the virus, I keep hearing about it on the news, like how people are not getting along because there's no communication, and that's one of the things that I saw growing up. No communication at all. Like instead of talking about like why you feel a certain way, we just snap, because we usually, like in my case, I saw it growing up, so I was never able to talk about how something will make me feel. And what I would do is I would just snap and I will get angry and I will like start cursing and everything. So that, because that's how my mom is. She will never. She hasn't changed. She pretty much said that she won't change. And I will tell you why in a little bit. But I saw that growing up. So in my mind, unfortunately, our brains are like sponges. We absorb everything we see, we hear, even though we might not even think about it, but we absorb it. We see something and we absorb it. That's why if your parents were like mean to you, or they made you feel like you like you didn't belong or something like that, or they were like rude to you, you're gonna be rude to others because you're gonna project that. Sometimes unfortunately we think that that will be normal. It's kind of like brainwashing. Like for example, now I know, like, hey, if somebody insults me, I know that that's wrong, and I'm not gonna like reply back with some insult. I'm just gonna like walk away, and that's not a sign of weakness. That's actually strength, because you're controlling yourself and you're preventing something little to escalate. And that's pretty much what happens. Like now with people being in the pandemic, being together. Like, I'm recording this during the pandemic. If this goes out in the air on YouTube after, just so you guys are aware of. So people are not talking to each other. They're just getting mad. They're snapping. They're yelling and everything. Like the other day, I saw this video on TikTok where the kid, probably like 16, 17 years old, he's doing his presentation for school on his phone on on the internet to his classmates, and on the background you could hear the parents like screaming at each other. Like the kid is yelling, not the kid, the parents are yelling at each other, like telling all sorts of stuff. The kid is crying because it's like everybody can see it, the teacher can see it, everybody can see it. And here's the problem with that is that because he's hearing all of that, and probably he's seen it, when he gets married or when he's in a relationship and something happens, he's gonna snap just like that because he's seen it from his parents, he's seen it from somebody that should be an example. And that's one of the problems that I think a lot of us faced growing up, is that we've been always told to follow the example of our parents or whoever is our father figure or the authority figure in the house, or in the house. So like, for example, my mom, she was a terrible example, horrible example. My brother, horrible example. My uncle, horrible example. So I didn't have anybody to like follow. So pretty much at this point, nobody helped me become a good person. All the examples that I had were bad. I wasn't able to provide anything good to society or anything like that because of the examples that I had to grow up with. But that's not my fault. What I had to do in this situation, once I realized that was wrong and that I could change, and again I say this was due to therapy. I was able to do that thanks to therapy. I was able to become a better person. Now I know the difference between how I was raised and what's a good way to raise a kid. Like, I wouldn't snap at my kid because, like I mentioned in the previous episode, he put on my shoes or my wife's shoes. Like, I would be like, "Oh, you think you're funny? Like, what you trying to prove?" You know, like I will do it. I will handle it a different way. Or, for example, my uncle, he will always make me feel like I wasn't good enough because I wasn't giving it my all. Even though he always made me feel like, "Oh, you're never gonna be good enough." One time, he said, this was a long time ago, he said, like, he made me feel like I was dumb, pretty much, because he said, like, "Oh, I'm a Pentium 4." He said, "My brain is a Pentium 4. Yours is like the lowest chip there was back then when Pentium 4 chips were around." And that made me feel bad. He might have said it jokingly, but that made me feel bad because I was like probably like 16, probably I would say like 16. Wow, that makes me feel old. I was like 16. He said that to me, so I was like, okay, I'll be dumb. I'll never be like you. And I'm glad now to say that I'll never be like him. I'll actually be my own person, and I'll be better than the people that raised me and that gave me the bad examples. And pretty much what I'm trying to say with this is that you can change. You can change. If you were raised the wrong way, kind of like I was, you can change and become the person that you need to become. That's pretty much why I want to do this. This is why I'm telling my stories. This is why I do the podcast, because a lot of us are suffering in silence, and then we're making other people suffer by us projecting our pain. And that's what my mom did. That's what my uncle did. That's what my brother did. And that's pretty much what society keeps doing. So we can stop this. We can stop this so we can follow our dreams. We can become our own person. We can become a productive or a member of society that can actually contribute something of value. So, with that said, that's pretty much today's episode. If you have any questions, just send me an email at the caregiver and spoony at gmail.com. You can also share your stories through there. And if you like this blog, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And also don't forget to follow us on Facebook. And I leave you with this: always take care of yourself.